Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video from Aman Talks FPL. Today we're going to be going through my Game Week 35 team selection ahead of what's actually looking like a normal game week with no double game week fixtures, but we're going to get that soon in terms of Game Week 36 and Game Week 37. But for now, let's concentrate on the week ahead, and I'll get into my transfer thoughts, my captaincy decisions, and what I'm looking to do with the team moving forward as well. And so do drop the video a like and definitely subscribe as well if you do enjoy it. So I thought we'll quickly start off looking at how I went in Game Week 34. So I took a big -8. I took out Harvey Barnes, Kulusevski, and Doherty, and I brought in Laporte, Mason Mount, and also Kai Havertz. So that was an 8-point hit, and the 8-point hit was actually paid back in the sense that Havertz ended up with 8 points, Mount with 5, and Laporte with 2. Doherty was an injured player. Harvey Barnes, I believe, only came off the bench for a 1-pointer, and Kulusevski also blanked. So I'm happy that I did that move just to try to attack the double game week, and I wasn't punished with my captaincy on Havertz against, say, like a Salah or a Mason Mount. Going with those two though over an Alonso, who I could have got instead for Laporte, that was a big 17-point swing, which is a little bit frustrating, especially when Reece James missed the first game, and then in the second game against Manchester United, boy, if you haven't watched those highlights, he could have scored big, 18, 20 points we're talking. He had so many chances created, had a great shot that hit the post that actually came off a Mason Mount pass. So yeah, there could have been more points in this one, but I'm happy enough with that. I gained some rank to 7.5k, had some decent returnees, still had Salah, Havertz and Saka all come in for me, and Robertson, he's been an absolute hero for me since I got him on the wildcard in Game Week 26. He's been absolutely smashing it. And a quick shout out as well to Dubravka at the back there with a clean sheet. Blanks elsewhere in the team, but look, happy enough that after taking a -8-point hit, we didn't come away with a red arrow and weren't punished with variance, which was it's one of those weeks where I think I'm fine with that. But moving forward at the fixture schedule, so we've got full confirmation now of the fixtures moving ahead for the rest of the season. So 36 is the big double game week, 37 is the smaller double game week. In terms of my chip strategy, I'm definitely now, I think, locked into Game Week 37 free hit. Just the way that my team's fallen as expected, I've got a pretty well set up team in terms of lots of double game week players. There might not be the optimal players from each of those teams, but overall I think there's limited upside in free hitting in 36. I think 37 I can definitely target a little bit more, going heavier with the likes of Villa. We've got a very nice double game week in 37, even dabbling in the likes of a Crystal Palace, maybe an Everton. That allows me in 36 to concentrate more of my transfers on your Manchester City players, your Chelsea, your Spurs, your Arsenal, all those kind of teams instead of focusing on those smaller teams. Although I'm kind of being a bit of a hypocrite in that sense, because my transfer this week is actually bringing in someone from Villa. Mainly because Villa have got that Norwich fixture in 35. I might look to take them out in Game Week 36, but at least I've got them in place with 37. The beauty of free hitting in the guys from Aston Villa in 37 is that I don't have to keep them in 38 when they verse Manchester City. So hence why I'm only going to be buying one of them this week. And I am going to be also looking to try to get more Manchester City players in my team. I was debating going for Manchester City players this week, but given that they still have the second leg of Champions League coming up this week, I was a bit iffy in terms of, wanting to do multiple points hits to actually bring them into my team. So instead, I settled with just going for an Aston Villa player. So I'll quickly just jump ahead to my team for this week. So you'll notice that Kai Havertz is no longer in the team, and Philippe Coutinho has made way into the starting 11. Main reason for that is Tuchel's comments after that Chelsea United game. They were okay in terms of Havertz saying the performance was, he was very wasteful. He's still putting in the effort, but it just suggested, a hint of fatigue, tiredness, and it was in reference to mainly him and Timo Werner. And so, given that we're in this late part of the season, I didn't really want to kind of cop a 1-point hit off the bench, say for a Kai Havertz, or a 1-point cameo, I should say. At this part of the season, I kind of want to capitalize as much as I can just to maintain points, and especially when someone like Coutinho, who at home typically performs better, that's generally a trend as well with Aston Villa at home, and it's a nice matchup on paper, home to Norwich. I just thought Coutinho, he's one of those players who has exploded so far this season in easier games, and I thought this could be a good chance that, if Havertz, if I do think that he's coming off the bench, and also in Game Week 36 when they verse Leeds away, that game is only about 2 or 3 days before the FA Cup final. And so I thought, if I don't think Havertz is going to play that one, or is going to play at less minutes, and I think is a chance of a benching, I'd rather just go with the guaranteed minutes and go with Coutinho. I've kind of made reference to it already. I could have maybe had gone with a Phil Foden. That would have set me up a little bit better for Game Week 36. I do think Foden is first choice, but again, Manchester City's got that Champions League fixture coming up midweek. I just wasn't as confident with Foden starting as I am with, say, like a Coutinho. And so I didn't really want to, have that 1 point cameo coming off the bench. So I've gone with Coutinho for this week, and that's just going to be the single move. Kai Havertz out for Coutinho. That leaves me with 1 mil in the bank, and we'll get onto some transfer tinkering in a little bit as well. Although I'm pretty loose with my plans at the moment. I think I'm just going to see what happens with the Champions League and the Premier League, and then as we get to Gameweek 36, I'll be able to have a better idea of, who are the Manchester City players that I want to target. What are my updated thoughts on Chelsea assets? Do I take them out in Gameweek 36? Because if I think there's going to be extra rotation, they might not be worth holding in that double game week 36 as well. And then I also get a better idea with Spurs assets. Now, just looking at my team for game week 35 as it stands, the bench is pretty weak, which is another reason why I also did decide to take out Havertz, just because I didn't really have many great options coming off the bench. Kilman is supposedly going to be out. Gelhardt is just going to be a 1-pointer, and he's versing Manchester City. And Broja, again, his place in the team is not 100% secure. So I really wanted to make sure that my starting 11 was a little bit more secure this week. Now, in terms of captaincy, that was one of the main decisions, I think, for this week. Given that I've got a pretty weak bench, every other player in my starting 11 kind of speaks for themselves while they're in the team. In terms of captaincy, Salah does have the early kickoff, and I think Newcastle are a much improved team defensively since January. And playing away from home, I think it's a little bit more difficult for Liverpool. The other thing as well is that I think Salah will start, and I think he'll play the majority of minutes, maybe 60 to 70 minutes at least. The problem is that I don't know if he'll get the full 90, just because Liverpool also still have their Champions League fixture. They also have less of a time gap between their Premier League fixture and their Champions League fixture in comparison to, say, like a Man City. And so I don't think Salah's going to get rotated out of the team. I just think the minutes could be a bit more managed. And I think that, coupled with Newcastle's recent good defensive performance, just means I'm not looking to captain Salah this week, which is a little bit scary. I have more confidence, though, in Kane. I know it sounds strange to say because Spurs have not had, a single goal in the last 2 games. But I think versing Leicester, who are going to be in the middle of their kind of European, they play their first European leg, they're probably going to field a rotated squad. And I feel like when they're going to have a rotated squad, they're going to be more kind of sitting back, not really as open. I feel like that suits someone like Harry Kane. He's got a tremendous record as well against Leicester, playing at home. I've had a feeling about Kane all week, and I haven't really changed my captaincy decision to Salah. I think I'm going to stick strong with Kane captaincy. If you had someone like Son versus Salah, I feel like it's not as easy of a decision, just because Kane does have the penalties. I still would maybe lean towards Son, though. I feel like Spurs, this game could be well made for them. I think they will have a bit of a bounce back. And yeah, I think I would roll the dice, I think, this week and go against Salah, because I do think that even though his effective ownership is probably going to be plus of 100%, I think there are other good captaincy options that you can bet against with. Even Coutinho could be an option at home to Norwich. Now, Martinelli and Saka, I'm very happy with Saka. Obviously, he's been killing it recently on penalties. He looks fine to go. Martinelli, though, is a bit of an issue because he is coming off the bench, so probably wasn't the best purchase a couple of weeks back. And so I think I'll be trying to maybe move him on in Game Week 36 if it looks like Smith Rowe is still going to be in the starting team ahead of Martinelli. But the defenders I'm all happy with. I think Reece James will probably start away to Everton. Really good performance again against Manchester United, so I'm hoping for some big returns from Reece James. And then Trent, Robbo, Laporte, very satisfied with all of them as well. So that's my team, how it looks for Game Week 35. I'll quickly just get onto some tinkering and what I'm looking to do for Game Week 35 onwards. So this is the team for 35. No change to what I just presented. I've got 1 mil in the bank as well after doing that Kai Havertz to Coutinho move. Now, if I go ahead to next week, I really haven't got any firm transfer plans at the moment. I think it really depends on, what I kind of want to do with maybe my Chelsea and maybe my Spurs assets. If, for example, City, I really want to lump in on City and maybe go with like Foden and a Cancelo, who is still not in my team. One way I could do that is maybe just downgrading Mason Mount. If I think he's only going to get the one fixture, I can downgrade someone from Mason Mount to maybe like a Dewsbury Hall. So Dewsbury Hall is pretty cheap, has still got a decent double, and he might just help me create some extra funds there. You can see that creates 4.2 mil in the bank. That lets me then upgrade Kilman to a Cancelo. So that's one way then I can bring him into the team. This is a question, I didn't even know who I'd bench. I can maybe even bench Martinelli if I do still think he's a rotation risk. I'm playing a bit of a Christmas tree formation of 5 at the back. Still have got 1.6 million in the bank though. If I am looking to free hit in 37, and Aston Villa do have Manchester City in 38. That's maybe when I'm thinking, because they've got Liverpool in the double game week, I could just see Coutinho as a 1 week play as a transfer. That leaves 8.6 mil in the bank, and then I could just bring in someone like a Foden. So that would be for a -8. So it's quite a few transfers done there, which is not ideal, but taking a -8 in a double game week, I'm okay with. And that means that my team moving forward does have triple City, triple Liverpool, and then I do also have Reece James. Now, taking out Mason Mount, I don't think I'm as confident in that. I do think that he's one of the Chelsea players who's got a better chance of actually starting that Leeds away fixture. So instead of doing that, I mean, if I wanted to create funds, I could instead maybe find it another way. Potentially, I could even drop down someone like a Harry Kane. You know, I could drop down Harry Kane, maybe to like a Watkins, maybe to like a Pukki, one of those kind of cheaper strikers, maybe even an Nketiah, if I do think that Nketiah is looking the first choice over Lacazette. So if I went Nketiah, I obviously have to take out Martinelli instead then, because he is obviously going to be a fourth Arsenal player, so I can't carry that many Arsenal options. So instead of doing Coutinho to Foden, you know, let me just go back to Coutinho. Then what I would still have is 5.3 mil in the bank. Then I've got 10.6. I can then still obviously afford a Foden. I could maybe even stretch up to like a Mahrez. I can't quite get up to KDB because I've already put more money into going with Cancelo. But let's say, for example, I just stick with Foden. That could be another way then, and maybe I just bench someone like a Mount or a Coutinho. I could maybe make that call in Gameweek 36. But that way it's still a -8. I've got money in the bank. And I wouldn't have Nketiah captain. Salah would be my captain that week, that's for sure. And so that could be how I play Game Week 36 if I want to try to get to my 3 City. Or instead I do it the other way where I maybe just take out Coutinho. Again, I'm just trying to be as flexible as I can. I haven't really got any firm transfer plans. I kind of just want to see what happens this week, what happens in the Champions League, the Premier League fixtures, and then I'll make up my mind. But you can kind of get an idea of what I'm looking to prioritize in 36, and I think that is going to be Manchester City players because they do obviously have a double game week. I still would captain Mo Salah though. Game week 37, as I quickly mentioned, I would free hit, so I wouldn't go into a free hit draft just yet, but my team would change quite a bit as I try to get in more Aston Villa, Crystal Palace players. And then if I just skip ahead actually to 38, you can see a lot of the big teams still do have good fixtures. So you've got Arsenal, Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool, they've all got good fixtures. The only thing is that I might not want to take out Harry Kane is because in Game 37, Spurs have Burnley, and in 38 they have Norwich away. So that's probably the one thing that I'd maybe change in this rough plan, is that I probably wouldn't take out Harry Kane, but maybe I can instead find a way to bring back in Son. As you see, I've got 2.8 mil in the bank. That could maybe just be a Foden out for a Son, maybe a Mount out for a Son, and then find that another way just to get some coverage of a Spurs asset. So, you know, maybe I could just take out like a Broja for a 4.5. Maybe I otherwise could take out like a Coutinho just to like another cheap midfielder. That could just be one way that I could get in someone like a Spurs asset for Game Week 38. But that's my rough plan at the moment. We'll just quickly touch back onto my Game Week 35 team. That's how I'm looking for this week. Captaincy is going to be on Harry Kane. I don't think it's going to be changing. I've been pretty set on that for most of the week. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video and my thoughts on my team and my transfer plans moving forward. Do give it a like if you did enjoy it, and I'll see you all in the next video.